Morning, everyone. Right, just going to get everything sorted. Happy Monday. Hope you're having a nice bank holiday. If any of you have been working, hope you've got an extra day off. Just going to wait for a few people to come in. I'm going to be making pin chains today. And hopefully you'll get some good lighting as well. It's not as sunny here today. We had a really windy, stormy night actually, thunder and lightning storms. A bit calmer now, but it's definitely not as sunny as it has been. Hi, morning Kitty. I can see you watching. Lovely, got quite a few of you coming in now. Just wait a couple of minutes, I'll show you what we're going to make today. Just trying to grab a bit of coffee before we get started. Okie dokie, so hopefully you can all hear me today. We had a few problems with sound yesterday, but hopefully we're all good. Good morning, Kitty. Okay, so today's PDF download on the website for free is working with chains. So it's making a chain necklace or bracelet earrings with eye pins. So you can use these to create, morning mum. Hiya, we'll do a FaceTime in a bit. We are working with pins so that we can create a chain. So you can use these to create the extension chains on jewellery. You can use it, morning Lynn, love seeing all these live demonstrations. Oh good, I'm actually really enjoying doing them as well. It's getting me up early in the morning, giving me a purpose, getting me going quickly. And I'm loving chatting to you all. It's really lovely. Okay, ask as many questions as you like today. Obviously it's interactive, so whilst we're live, ask me any questions, turning loops, working with chains, anything that you want answered, we will go through. So I'm going to show you working with your pins. So you can extend any length of chain. So for example, if you've got your strands of beads, and I've put my crystals away from yesterday and I wanted those for today. If you are working, here they are, with not very many beads, you can extend the length really easily by using your head and eye pins. So creating your own chain rather than just simply stringing your crystals. So for example here, it's a really nice long strand. I think this is a 16-inch, yeah. So we can more than double the length of this by adding our pins on, because of course we're putting separators in between. So as you can see, you can create really nice detailed chain. And I always like to put a jump ring in between as well, which is going to extend it even further. Do excuse the paint on my nails. I was glossing woodwork yesterday and it does not want to come off my nails. Let me just say hello to a few of you before we get going. Morning Lynn, morning Julie from a cold Lincolnshire. Yeah, I'm in Lincolnshire now too, and it is cold and dull. Hi Alison, hi Bernie. Morning Judith. I've had problems the last 2 days, but I think it's signals. Oh, is that for the sound and everything? Morning, Patricia. Loving the live demos. Morning, Christine. Morning, Sarah and everyone watching today. Oh, lovely. Right, got a good few of you in. Okay, let's just get going. So if you have any questions or you are struggling creating perfect loops, then let me know and we're going to try and sort that today for you. So I'm going to use quite a long eye pin, so hopefully you can see. So I'm going to be using eye pins. I have a 0.5 millimeter wire. I'm going to show you how to do wrapped loops with these as well, which gives you a much more secure chain. So for those, I'm just going to go really back to basics, and then because I know we've got quite a few new people joining us, so let's just start at the beginning, and then as the video goes on I'll get more advanced with some of the techniques. Okay, so your eye pin, those little pins that I just showed you, they have a loop on the top. It's these loops that we replicate so that we can create our beads into little linking components. So each one of these beads are sat on one of these pins. And as you can see, you've got the loop on either side. And with something like this, you want them to be uniformed. You really want to get that perfect finish. It's going to make such a difference to the look of your chain. Okay, so I'm going to turn you down. Morning, Chris, from a chilly Welsh valleys. Oh, keep warm today. Lots of beading inside today. I've got some nice projects to be getting on with, as well as a bit more DIY. So That's going to keep me inside. Okay, so eye pins. I'm going to use the darker crystals that I had yesterday. Now, the offer that Kitty and Simon had on the website yesterday, this is your 8x10 crystals, I think these ones are. I think it's the 6x8s that we've got on offer. 10 strands of crystals. They are normally £25, but they are doing an offer for £15. So these are the crystals that I'm using today. I've got more over here. If I show this around, so excuse all the moving boxes. I've also got all of these crystals here. I was using them yesterday in the video. It's an amazing offer, and I'm going to show you how to create the chains with these today. Don't forget to pop your free PDF in your basket at the same time as well. Just add it into your basket. It's in the free projects category. Pop that into your basket, check out, and that will get emailed through to you. Okay, so you need really nice round nose pliers for these, because I know some of you have big old cumbersome round nose pliers that have lots of marks on them, lots of scratches. You can't create really nice delicate loops without a nice delicate tool. So you do need the right tool for the job. Okay, so standardly we use about 1 centimetre for our loops. So if you are super new, or you're struggling getting the right length each time and the uniformity, what I would suggest doing is take a spare piece of wire or take your pin and just bend it to 90 degrees and make sure that you've got a marker. Oh, look at that. I didn't even measure that one. But if you have a look, and it comes with practice. Can you see there? I am dead on 1 centimetre. It comes with practice. Obviously, I have done thousands of these, but each time you want about 1 centimetre of wire, just keep this as a little marker, so that you can have it on your mat, and then when it comes to actually cutting the pin, you can just use it as your little ruler and as your little marking point. Morning Sheila, morning Doris. Lovely hairdo. Thank you, Doris. I've just thrown it up this morning. Morning Karen from South Cumbria, hope you're keeping warm. Hi Patricia, I think I have double ordered them, but they are beautiful. Or you are going to have a real sparkle to play with when you get these. Hi Angela, can you do a bead sizer for seed beads? I've got your kit and they're great. Oh yeah, okay, I'll get working on that. Might be a bit tricky because they are teeny tiny, but I'll look into that for you, sure. Okay, so with your pins, I'm going to add a bead onto my eye pin. Let me just refocus this down a little bit. And then I'm going to bend my pin to 90 degrees. So as you get a bit more used to working with the materials, you want to try and bend your pin so that you're going to bend it in the same direction as your loop. But as you can see, it doesn't always happen. I'm going to show you how to neaten that up afterwards. Take your flush cutters. Now, very, very basic, but I see so many of you do it when I'm teaching you. With your cutters, you will see that one side of your cutters are completely flush. This is going to give you the correct cut each time. So where you are sitting your pliers is where it will cut. It's flush. On the other side, a lot of them are domed, just like this. If you are cutting and using this as your marker, you will see that the cutters, the blade of the cutters, aren't anywhere near. So just make sure that you are cutting in the exact right place using the flush side of your cutters. So 1 centimetre, if you want to, use your little gauge. And of course, that is the pin that we are going to be turning our loop on. These little bits that come off, you can keep these, and I'll show you how to make an extra eye pin out of them so there's no wastage. Now, with your eye pins, remember I said that uniformity is going to give you that lovely finish. Take one of your made eye pins, so as they come out of the pack, this is how they look. Just pop it on your round nose pliers. Now, these loops are quite small, but if you just take a pen, or you could even mark it, take a little Sharpie pen, something like that. Just mark that loop depth on your plier, because the depth of the plier is where you want to create your loop time and time again to get the same size. So you can see they're thinner at the top and bigger towards the bottom, and all of the round nose pliers are going to have different depths. If I pick up one of my other ones, actually, you'll see these ones are teeny tiny. So actually, as I'm going onto there, And actually these are quite irregular as well. That's going to give me a different depth. So each set of pliers are going to be slightly different. Make your mark so that you can turn the same size loop over and over again. Okay, so then thumb is going to act as a stopper on there. Let me just have a little look because I don't want to miss any of your comments. Morning, Karen from Glasgow. Hi, good morning. Hi, Patricia here in New Zealand. Oh, thank you for your demos. You're more than welcome. I hope you're staying safe over there. Morning, Lucy. Are you going to have the lavender on the website anytime soon? I missed it on Create and Craft. Lucy, just message Kitty and Simon on either the Facebook page or email from the website and they'll sort you out if they have any kits left. Morning, Dorothy. For seed beads, it's the amount per inch. Yes, so that's it exactly. It's the and that is why. Thank you, Dorothy. That's why the larger the number, the smaller the bead, because you can fit more beads into that space. Okay, so thumb as a stopper on the end. Pin is going to hold that bead and the loop, the pin is facing up to the ceiling. Now I roll away from me, but you can roll towards you, in which case just turn that around. So where we've bent it to 90 degrees, we've bent it to 90 because we're going to roll it back on top of the bead. So you can either roll away from you, you could look onto it to see it, you can go towards you, whatever works for you, left or right-handed. We're all going to do it slightly different, so long as the end result is the same. So pin, it needs to be completely flush to your pliers. If any of you are ending up with shepherd's crooks, it's because you're leaving wire out at the top. So if you have a look, if I bend this over now, this, if any of your loops look like this, it's because you are not keeping your wire flush to your plier, and that way you're going to roll all of it, because if there's some poking out, let me leave that one, if there's some poking out, then it's not going to curve. So we don't want this, you don't want any poking out, you want it as flush as possible to that marker point on the plier that we created, and then we're going to roll away. So I'm going to turn it so that you can see. Smaller movement is going to give you more control, so tiny little movement, let go of the pin and come back, and that way all of that pin, and you'll see I am doing the smallest little nudges, and then I'm just going to straighten that up, so I'm just edging it in a little bit, and then if I pop that onto there, hopefully you can see that loop, beautiful little loop. Okay, so smaller the movement, the more control. It doesn't have to be in one swift move. Julie, which is the best size eye pin to use, please? It really doesn't matter. If you are using larger beads and you're doing clusters, use larger pins. Obviously, with something like this, I'm only using one bead, so you can use a much smaller pin because you're cutting it off anyway. You only want 1 centimetre worth to work with. So the size of them doesn't matter at all. It's just for the beads that you are going to be using. Okay, so I want to neaten this up and make sure that my loops are facing in the same direction, because when I bent it, it wasn't. So you'll see I've got one sort of running horizontally, if you like, one going vertically. So I'm just going to take a pair of pliers, grab that, and now I will get that uniformity, and that's going to give me a really lovely finish. So now you can see my loops are exactly the same size, and they're round, which is the goal. So this is going to be one of our components. And now I've turned my bead into a connectable component. So it's connectable on both sides. I'm going to do this again with a couple, just so that we can start adding some bits and pieces together. So like size of eye pins, you'll see that the majority of this is going to be wastage. I can then use it to turn into another eye pin. So there won't be any waste as such, because I can use this bit. Smaller pins, obviously, as you're cutting things away, they might not be large enough for you to actually make a pin out of. Okay, so another nice little loop there, and you'll see you'll get quicker and quicker. So turning these into an eye pin, so your leftovers, take the same marker on your round nose plier. We're just going to turn a nice little loop. But you will see that when you get a pre-made eye pin, the eye is on the top. When you're making them yourself, because we haven't bent it to 90 degrees, it's slightly off angle. So if you just pop your pliers in there and nudge that backwards, it will give you an eye. And because I'm using the same point, they're going to be the same size. That's not bad, is it? Okay, so that's my leftovers. These are my components. Let's do one more. And I'm going to thread, I'm going to link in a jump ring. If you don't want to bend with your fingers, if you don't have the strength in your fingers, I just take it for granted that I can. But take your pliers. When you are using things like crystals or bicones, so your glass beads, they're going to be more fragile. If you hold your pin right down at the bead and then try to turn it so that you can bend the pin, you're going to crack and chip the top of those pliers. The top of the bead with your pliers. So just hold it so that there is ever such a small gap, and then bend to 90 degrees. So you're just getting that little angle. Now it might mean that you do have a little gap in between the bead, but that's okay. It's going to protect your bead and it's going to save your fingers from hurting if you can't bend them over with the strength. So use your pliers. Okay, we'll do a couple more of these and then I'm going to start linking them together, and then we're going to move on to wrapped loops. So your eye pins are going to give you connectable links with your beads top and bottom, because of course you have an eye on both sides. If you want a flush finish, so for things like if you're going to add your beads into charms, so of course you can thread these on. If you saw the little fringes we were making yesterday, you can actually use beads to thread onto those, or it's going to be your droplets, so that very end bead, your full stop on maybe an extender chain or on your earrings, like so. So these beads in between are on eye pins, but your end one needs to be on a head pin. So I've just grabbed a quick little head pin here from my stash. So the difference being your head pin has that nail tip finish, so it's got that full stop, and your eye pin obviously has a loop at the end. So it's exactly the same technique, bending it to 90 degrees, cutting and leaving a centimetre, and then rolling that top. But what that will do is give you a connectable component on just one side. So that would be your charms, your full stops to your earrings, they are your end beads. So that's the difference between your head and eye pins. Okay, so connecting them together, just like opening a jump ring. So with your jump rings, we don't want to pull the circle apart, we twist it. So it's exactly the same with your eye pins. If you pull them apart, you're going to break that circle and give it a weak point. Just by twisting it open, we can then thread them on and make them connectable. With your eye pins, if you are linking jump rings in between, make sure that your eye pins are perfectly closed. So just like you would using your jump rings, make sure that you twist them shut, the ends meet, especially if you are going to thread them as components. But I'm going to show you to do a wrapped loop for that because it's even more secure. So with these, because my loops are perfect and I don't want to break them, I don't want to ruin them, I want to keep that lovely shape, I'm going to connect them together with jump rings. And these are really nice and strong, so I will use these as the opening component and I'll link on my eye pins. So with your jump rings, if you're using a pair of pliers, so I've got my flat nose pliers and a round nose plier. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a quick sip of drink. Still got a little tickly throat. Okay, so rather than using your your round nose pliers right in at the very tip, that's going to create quite a lot of stress on one part of your jump ring. I'm going to use my plier vertically, and that way it's not loading all of that strength and pressure onto one point. It's making it a lot more weight bearing over all of it, so I won't dent it. So then just twisting that open to give me that open, connectable component. So then I'm going to link on my eyes that we've already created, and then we're going to twist it shut as well. So if you can't go completely vertical because your beads are in the way, just try and do it as much as possible, just so that you are spreading that over. Hope that's tea, not gin. I promise you it's coffee today, Angela. There you go. If we do evening Facebook Lives, I can't guarantee it would be tea or coffee. Maybe we should be doing some late night ones. Okay, so you can see that you've got a jump ring in the middle, connecting all of these together, and we're going to start making our chain. So again, opening that jump ring, connecting it in, And because I'm using the jump rings, it's also going to give me a nice decorative feature on my chain. But you'll also see that, just like I was talking about at the beginning of the video, I'm now extending the length of the beads that I'm using, so you don't need to use as many. So those nice long strands of crystals that Kitty and Simon have on offer at the moment on the website, most of their strands are normally about 16 inches. All of a sudden now will become even longer. So 1, 2, 3, only 4 beads on here. Let's have a look. So these 4 beads would normally only give me 2.5 centimetres. But because we are using them, look at that, I've doubled it. So the 16 inch will become a 32, and that will be a really nice long lariat chain. You wouldn't even need to add a clasp onto it. In fact, I've even more than doubled it, look. Yeah, nearly 6 centimetres with just 4 beads. So again, all of those sort of bead soups, leftovers, your nice long strands, you can now obviously extend that using a really nice decorative and pretty feature. Okay, so long as we don't have any more questions about turning loops, I'm going to move on to wrapped loops, which are a little bit more intricate and advanced, but it's something that's really useful. So if you are using very heavy beads, very large beads, or very precious beads, you can use wrapped loops. So I'm going to make the wrapped loops out of the wire. Lynn, morning, hope you're well. I am, thank you. If you're referring to my little tickly throat, it's okay, and it's just the aircon and allergies and all that kind of thing at the moment. So aircon in the studios, obviously, not at home, not that posh. So yeah, I had a little bit of a tickle a few weeks ago, lost my voice for a couple of days. So every now and again when I chat on to myself like this, it just tickles. So if you are using larger beads, heavy beads, or precious beads, so things like freshwater pearls, Swarovski crystals, all that kind of thing, wrapped loops are great. And also if you are going to thread them on as charms, because a wrapped loop is going to give us 0 opening in any of the pin. So it is connected for life. It's not coming off. So with these ones, obviously, if I was to pull this really, really strong, or to pull it really hard, can't get the words out today, sorry. If I was going to yank this really hard, some of these might come undone. If you were to do that with a wrapped loop, it's not going to. It is secured for life. Okay, so I'm going to move some of these out of the way just to keep us organised. Let's get some of this out of the way. Hopefully you can see everything okay. Right then, wrapped loops. So I'm going to cut this off with a spool, but you wouldn't need to. It's just so that I can hold it up for you. So we're going to need a little bit more than our normal centimetre for a loop, because I'm going to create the loop and then we are going to wrap the wire around the body of the loop. So first of all, I'm going to create one of my little loops up at the top. So I'm just taking the wire, and you'll see it's softer than the eye pins that we're using. This is a 0.5, and I have just wrapped that around the actual body of the pin. Now, if you're going to connect this, because this is my first one, I'm just going to show you what we're doing, and then I'll show you how to connect them on together, okay? So you're basically wrapping this all the way around the body of the plier, and then I like to just give it a little straighten up so that my eye is just on top of my wire, just like we would if I was making my own. So it's gone from a P to an I. And then this little bit that sticks out here, we're going to wrap around the body of the pin itself, so the wire. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, and I'm holding onto the loop in this hand, and I'm just going to take my flat nose pliers and mould this around like so. 3 turns is always a good one. That's going to give you a nice, neat finish. Okay, so hopefully you can see that all right. Let me see if I can focus it in on there. So I've got really nice, neat wraps up at the top here. I can use my flush cutters, and again, using that flush end, making sure I can get in as near to it as possible. They look so pretty when they're done. If any of it is poking out, you can just use your flat nose pliers to just pinch it in. I'm just ever so slightly squeezing that together. That's giving me my wrapped loop. Then you'll add your bead on, like so, and we'll do exactly the same thing. Oh, now actually the hole in this bead, so the hole in this crystal, I'll just show you actually, I'll change to another bead in a sec, is the hole in the crystal is too large, so you'll see it's completely hiding all of the wire. So it's nice, it's going to be secure, it's still a nice finish, but for showing you a wrapped loop, it's not ideal. Let me pick another bead. I've got some in here. Oh, hold on, I've got a bicone here. I mean, you would think that I wouldn't be short of beads, would you? I should show you guys all of my beading cupboards actually, and how I've organised all of my beads. We moved a few weeks ago and I organised them all just before we moved so that it was nice and easy. I had a few questions about storing beads. I'll raid my cupboards for you if you like. So you can see that's going to give me a really beautiful decorative finish to the pin. So it's just something that gives you a little bit more of a handmade finish. Still nice and simple to create, and it just gives you that lovely handmade finish and a nice little professional finish to it as well. Okay, so to create the loop up at the top, what I've done is just like I showed you bending the pin with the pliers a moment ago, I need space. I don't want this to be nice and tight to the beads, because I do actually need some space, because of course we want this wrapping space. So I'm taking my pliers, I am popping it into the pin and then bending over the top of the plier. So you can see I've got that nice little gap there. And because I want that gap to fill with my wire afterwards. And then I'm holding it so that my wire can now go over the top of the bead, and then just rotate that plier around, and you'll see that I've got my loop, but I've still got that nice space for wrapping. Okay, so then I'm going to pop that into here, and we'll do the same thing again. So you'll see I've changed and flipped and rotated my pliers a few times, and then I'm just going to take this wire with my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to wrap that around 3 times. It'll give me a nice little finish. Just going to straighten up that pin like so and trim this off. Okay, so that's the concept of it. That's the technique. That's what we're going to do. But obviously now I have a pin I can't connect to anything because I can't open those components. Can you see that okay? If I come in a bit closer and focus in, does that work? Don't know if you can see that. But it's given me a really nice wrapped loop, and it gives you a beautiful, like I said, handmade and very professional finish. But of course, like I said, can't connect it to anything. So, Dorothy, yes, show the stash because yours is a mess. Oh, bless you. Mum, did you have some help with that, hun? Lots of help. My mum, how often do we do it, Mum? Maybe every 6 months or so? You can see all my cupboards here. She comes round, we empty out the lot all over the floor, and we clear out, we tidy up, and we sort it all out. And then, because I'm naughty and lazy, as the months go on and I'm busy, I come back, I unpack the shows, I do videos like this, and I just quickly put things in bags and chuck them back in. So every 6 months or so, we have to do it all again. But my mum is the queen of organisation. I love her for it. Linda, yes, would love to see your storage, please. No problem. Andrea, morning, enjoying watching you. Thank you so much. I'm enjoying talking to you all. Sarah, what type of wire is that, please? I'm new to this and I seem to use wire that's too brittle. This is a 0.5mm wire. This is quite a thick, it sounds silly to say it's quite a thick 0.5, but you can get thinner wire and you can get harder gauges of wire. I would suggest if you are struggling, go to a 0.8. This is a 0.5 that I'm using. You don't really want to go any thinner than that because we're using it quite a lot. We're holding it quite tightly. Anything thinner than that is probably going to break. Sarah seemed to use wire. I think that was from your one before. Annie, please do. I'd be interested if you sort by colour. I do now. I sorted all my seed beads. Also type and size. I do. I don't do by size, but I do now. All of my seed beads are now stored by colour. And all of my beads are now stored by type. Yeah. I'll take pickies. Maybe I'll do a Facebook Live on my one. Mine are in a big bag. Sure, there must be a better way. Unfortunately, I don't have dedicated craft drum. Yeah, I use these little boxes. I'll do a Facebook Live on my one, maybe tomorrow, actually. I'll post about it. Can I borrow your mum to help me? I know, I should rent her out. And she loves doing it as well. Hi, Victoria. How will you make... Will that make the rosary link if you join them up? Yes, I'm going to show you how to do that now. Patricia, I'm really new to jewellery making and your videos are a great help. I keep watching them. I hope to be able to show you my first make very soon. Thank you. Oh, Patricia, I would love to see your first make. Marie, Sarah, where can I get a bead sizer? Okay, so I don't have any individually on their own, but this one comes in my toolkit, which is on the Totally Beads website. Sorry, I had my tube loose in there. They are on the Totally Beads website. It is the pliers that I've been using today. So you get your round, your cutters and your chain. Inside, you've got your scoop, which I use for all my seed beads. You've got scissors. My needle tube is empty at the moment because I was using those earlier, but you've got 3 Easy Eye needles and I use that to store all my others. And then you get the ruler and the bead sizer as well. It goes from 2mm all the way up to 12. I'm afraid that's only available in the set at the moment though. Okay, I'm going to crack on now and show you another wrap loop and how to link them together. Sorry for drinking in the video. I hate doing it. It's not very professional of me, but I've got to keep my throat going. Okay, so wire again, cut a little bit off and now we're going to link them together. Okay. A welcome distraction from the kids going wild. Oh, Cheryl, I hope you're keeping okay with the kids. We had to get a little bit strict with Beth and her schoolwork yesterday. She's been slacking off a little bit. We needed to be revising. She'll be 16 this year, so it's a big year for them. And it's just so hard not being at school. We can't teach them anything new, but we're trying to help her to revise and brush up on things that they would otherwise be missing out on. But yeah, it's hard with the kids at home, isn't it? Morning, Sarah. Been watching. Forgot to say hi. Oh, hi, Sarah. We're all friends here. Go ahead and have a drink. Oh, lovely. Thank you so much, darling. Okay, so wrapping these loops together. Right, we're going to create our first little loop, exactly the same. So creating that loop, just bending it all the way around the plier. And at this point, you have to remember to link it on. So, and you can get carried away making these wrap loops. Got hiccups now. So many times I will make a wrapped loop and I have forgot to link it onto anything. So when you've got to this point, we're going to link it on. So you will just take your flat nose pliers, round nose pliers, tilt it up. So just like opening a jump ring or opening your loops, tilt that up and we will link it on at this point. Okay. Like so. So I've got my loop and now it's linked together. Now, obviously, because I now have a pin in there, I can't actually hold it in my pliers like I was before. So I'm going to take my plier and I'm going to hold it horizontally like this. So the loop that I have just made is now sandwiched in between my pliers. And then again, this is now going to free up. So I'm using it in my less dominant hand. So I'm holding it in my left hand so that I've got my right hand to create that loop. To create that wrap around the loop. Like so. So I've got my connected pin and it's now closed with my wrapped wire. Marie, 2 of my grandchildren should have been taking their GCSE exams this year. So hard for them. Oh, Marie, I hope they're doing okay. I think the way they're doing it now is that they go on predicted grades. Is that right? Which might be really hard for some kids if they're, if they've been working really hard and trying to improve those predicted grades. But I don't know. I'm not sure what will quite happen with all of this. It must be so hard for them. But hopefully they're enjoying what would be Easter holidays now. Okay, so if your wrapping is a little bit further apart, just take your pliers and you can squidge them together. Sandwich those together just to close any of those loops, and that is going to give you a really nice, neat finish. Okay, so now we're ready to add our next bead on. Like so. And you'll see my link that I couldn't connect to anything. Obviously, I can now connect onto a loop that I am making. So if you want to, you can sit and make up half of your wrapped loops rather than connecting them on. So like I said, you'll make one and forget to connect something in. You can keep that because they will become connectable components as you're making your next ones, if that makes sense. I hope so. Okay, so again, taking now my... Oh, look, the hole in that bead. I just realised I've added the wrong bead on. I must have just had one with a really large hole because now that one will sit properly. Just in case it doesn't, I'll add a bicone on. If you wanted to use beads with bigger holes, just use a thicker wire so that it's going to hold it, or you can use a spacer bead. So you could put a seed bead or a spacer bead on, which will bridge that gap in between the thinner wire and the larger hold bead. Hope that makes sense. Is there a reason why you're doing a wrapped loop with a piece of wire rather than a head pin? Yeah, so my head pins are really strong. Some of them are... It's all depending on the gauge of wire. So some of these head pins that I have are really super strong and I just can't get a nice neat finish with them. I could still do a wrap loop with it. Just trim off the head up at the top and it's going to give you that section of wire. I personally feel that I get a much neater, nicer, softer, elegant finish when I'm using a soft gauge wire. It's just easier to work with, but yes, of course, you could use your head or your eye pins to do exactly this. Hi Dee. Hi Chris, living on my own and loving these breaks in my groundhog days. Thank you, Sarah and Kitty. Chris, you are more than welcome. It's exactly why we're doing it. I know some of us are very lucky to obviously have people at home with us. Depending on the mood of everyone, sometimes not so lucky. But of course we do have company. So this is entirely what we are doing it for. And I'm really glad that you're finding it useful, Chris. Thank you. It's what Kitty had in mind when she wanted us to do these. And we will be doing them lots of days ahead as well. We've planned all of this week. And then, of course, providing this all carries on and you're finding these useful, we will carry on doing them next week as well. Marie, watching this while making scrubs for local hospitals. You are doing an amazing job, Marie. Thank you. Sarah, perfect. Thank you for answering the question, Sarah. You are welcome. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off this one to show you. So your rosary links, this is exactly what you're going to be doing, linking them all together. So again, just bending that around so that I have that little gap because that will be for my wraps, and over the top and around, tilting that around so I've got that space. If you find it's too much space, you can just nudge it together. Kitty says head pin balls, they are thinner. In sterling silver head pins are perfect for wrapping technique. Yes, absolutely. These ones, I mean, these are some of my inexpensive ones. These aren't from Totally Beads. Some of my cheaper head pins are super, super thick. But the ball end pins, and I do have some of those somewhere, Kitty, as well. The ball end, so they don't have that nail tip finish. They have a lovely, pretty little ball on the end. They are really long as well, actually, and they are a thinner gauge wire, so they are perfect for doing your wrapped loops with, and also sterling silver. So when you're putting this sort of effort into something, it's worth doing something in sterling silver as well, because something like this, of course, is never going to come undone and you're never going to need to remake it. So of course it will give you that lovely finish. Okay, so wrapping this one to finish it off. Because I'm using a thinner wire, I can just wrap it around quite loosely, like so. And then that is going to give me my finished end and we'll be ready to... Well, that one started to go around the beads. So I'm just going to undo that ever so slightly and trim that off. And again, with your flush cutters as near and as close to it as you can get. And then just pincing together with your pliers will tuck those little ends in. And there you can see you've got that lovely movement. You've got that sort of rosary finish, if you like, so that you are connecting them all together. Okay, I think that's pretty much us done. Do let me know if you've got any questions. Hello. Let me know if you've got any questions. I will keep an eye on the page as the day goes. As the day goes on, and Kitty and I will answer any of the questions that you have. I will set up a live on my Facebook page, and I'll show you all of my bead storage and how I organise it. To be honest, Kitty, you're probably a better one to do that with as well. I just tend to use the big storage boxes, but Kitty has all of the storage that we sell on the website. So they are all smaller individual pots on the inside, and then larger storage that then keeps them all contained. That is so perfect for your findings and your seed beads. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we should all start sharing pictures of our storage in our craft rooms. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Tomorrow is Kitty. Now, yesterday I was really organised and I had my list. Is it Tiara Tuesday? Tomorrow's Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah. Kitty's doing tiaras tomorrow, so a bit more wire wrapping, some free-forming with your wire and making beautiful tiaras. And Kitty, I hope you're going to wear your tiara. Lots of people said they want to see you wearing your crown tomorrow. So join Kitty at 10 o'clock for that. And I will see you, I think my next one is on Friday. I'm in the Create and Craft Studios on Thursday, so Kitty is following for this week, all through the week, and then I will do the weekend on Friday. Thank you, Sarah. Great to see you again today. You too. Thank you so much for talking to me. Sarah, thank you. That was fab. Lots of Sarahs. Good names, girls. Patricia, great to watch. Thank you so much. I will see you on Friday and join Kitty in the week tomorrow, 10 o'clock on the Facebook page. Remember, you can go back and see them all. We do have the groups as well. I think, Patricia, you were saying that you were going to make something and share pictures. If you go to the Totally Handmade, Totally Beads Facebook group, there are hundreds of us in there sharing pictures, inspiring others, sharing our makes from these videos. We would love to see what you are all doing, and helping other people as well. So if you ever get any questions, pop something in there and we're all there to answer. It's great to have a new beading person in the group, so do head over there. Lucy, thank you so much for spending time with us. No, thank you too for giving your morning to me. Camille, only one Camille. Just you. You are our unique Camille. Sarah, all the best girls called Sarah. Love it. Thank you so much, ladies. I will see you on Friday. Take care. Have a good week. Stay safe, and keep us company at 10 o'clock on the Facebook page. Thank you. Bye.